Hey, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am back, and I first would just like to thank all of you for liking, subscribing, and sharing my videos. I have absolutely doubled my following in the last few weeks, so thank you so much for everything that you guys are doing. Thanks to the Higher Self channel also for continuing to share my work, and to some of my friends who have been amazing about sharing the videos on their social media pages and in groups on Facebook, etc. Because it just keeps growing, and I'm just so grateful to all of you guys. So thank you so much. I'm coming on today because I wanted to share a list of things that I learned through my awakening processes. And I will be honest, last year, 2018, was probably my most significant, even though to an extent I was kind of born awake. Like I was maybe 7 or even younger when I started having experiences. But since then, there have just been so many periods and cycles of awakening that I've gone throughout my young adulthood, my 20s, my 30s, and this past year turning 40 years old, I got slammed with a big one. So, in some ways, I wish I had had this list beforehand, but this past year I really surrendered to it, and I'm so glad that I did. I'm just, wish that I had surrendered appropriately years and years ago in some ways. But, in true Emily fashion, I had to fight it tooth and nail, fought it through codependency, fought it through PTSD, everything. That was probably in 2005 or so. But now here we are, 2019, and I want to share this with you guys, so hopefully it will make your journey a little easier. So the number one, is that you must love yourself first. Okay, and that's really for anything. You will not reach satisfaction in whatever you're doing, whatever you're accomplishing, whatever you have. You won't even reach the pinnacle of your relationships until you know how to love yourself first. And a teacher of mine put it this way. It was I thought a very good image, that if this is your whole heart, right, and you're only loving yourself with about a quarter of it, that's the extent to which you can possibly offer your own love to anyone else. So you have to expand. In order to offer more love to other people, you have to be able to expand your love for yourself to your entire heart. How can you offer to people what you don't even know what it is? Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to know how it feels or what it feels like before you can truly, honestly, and really authentically offer it to other people. And it's that giving and that exchange of love, the giving and receiving of love, which makes life so fulfilling. If you're just on one end or the other of that, it's not quite the same, is it? So that's so important. And the struggle with that is it can be difficult to know how to love yourself if you've never really done it before. It's just, the simple truth is that you just have to do it. Just turn on your love for whatever, your child, your pets, your parents, whoever it is, turn that on, and then turn it on yourself. Imagine yourself as a child. And I feel like this is maybe one of the most fundamental ways that people are able to break through that barrier of not really knowing how to start. Imagine yourself as a child, and you are reparenting this child, and you're expressing to this child all the love that you have for him or her. Because as a child, you've done nothing wrong. You're just innocent. And that's how you are at your nature, at your core anyway. So expressing this love to this child really opens the door to self-love. And so make this a practice if you don't break through. And sometimes in my sessions, we'll break through the inner child wall in one session. So it's a very powerful thing to do. But if you're not breaking through in one, you may have to do it over and over again. And I absolutely recommend talking to that inner child on regular occasions, because that's an important connection back to who you are and your origins and your beginnings. So expressing love to that child and having self-love is number one. Number two, the dream you were scared to dream is the one you must go for. I know that sounds, that might sound a little complicated, or it might sound stupid, or it might sound like a really bad meme, right? It's not. It's, what is it that you want in your soul? Like, that's what I'm saying. What is it that you want in your soul? If you truly want it in your soul, you are absolutely good enough to have it. But the way to get to it is, number one, love yourself. Start there. And then you realize that you deserve it. For me, I feel like at some point in time, I had been through so many terrible, emotionally abusive relationships that I decided that love was not for me. And I was never going to receive it. No one was ever going to love me, and I was going to throw my life into doing good for the world. You see, I'm getting a little emotional because this is how deep this goes for me. And when I learned that I did deserve it, I learned that I did deserve that love, it opened everything up for me, because then I began to love myself in a way that allows other people to respond to me with the same love. Now, that doesn't just include romantic love. That includes my relationships with my friends, my coworkers, my employees, my clients, everyone, other healers that I have met in my life, and we have just a really strong soul bond. It's like amazing. So, the dream for me was to be able to give and receive true unconditional love on every level, including the romantic level. And reawakening that within myself was a process. And so maybe your huge dream has to do with, maybe your soul mission has to do with healing people, or maybe it has to do with helping people who didn't have all the advantages you had, or fighting for social justice, or whatever it is. But the dream that you thought was too big for you, if it is truly in your soul, that is the one you must go for and must accept as your truth. And that, number one, you are good enough to have it, to achieve it, to deserve it. Okay? That is another lesson that I learned through this awakening process. Number three, everything in your outer world reflects your inner world on some level. So the closer that you are to a person, I find the more clear a mirror they are. Now, if you are on the twin flame journey, or divine counterparts, or however you want to talk about it, divine complements, that person is probably your clearest mirror. So when you look at them and they trigger you, the answer is always within you. It's always turning back to the self and saying, why is this bothering me? And we talked a little bit about triggers last week. And the truth is, this is all the process of enlightenment, of ascension, because we're finding the places within us that are not resonant with our own truth, right? Our subjective truth. We're going to talk a little bit about truth in a minute. And we're clearing those. We're clearing the old templates. We're clearing the negative experiences, the wounding, all of those things that do not resonate with our own personal truth. And our own personal truth vibrates somewhere in the level of unconditional love for ourselves and all others. And all things that do not resonate with that need to go. So when you're finding yourself triggered by someone not reaching out to you, in what way are you not reaching out to yourself, number one? Or number two, in what way are you cutting them off? So they are going to provide a mirror back to whatever you need to heal within yourself. All the ways inside yourself where you can grow and expand and become more of your core. It's like you're slowly exposing your core self by peeling away either the layers of the onion, or everybody's favorite analogy, right? Or it can be like clearing away, the algae on a pond. Whatever it is, it's like you're clearing away who you really are through experiencing these triggers. So, going through an awakening process, I don't know if you've ever seen that meme where it's like people think awakening is, and then they show the sun card, and then it's what it's really like, and they show the tower. Well, that's what it's like. It's like trigger after trigger after trigger, because what you're doing is you're clearing away all that debris that, you know, your triggers in every person and every situation and everything in your life are pointing to, so that you can get down to who you really are. What is your truth? What is your soul's mission? What is your soul song? What are you here to do in this life? And so in that way, all the things that I've just said are all kind of, you know, going in the same, down the same chute. You know, we need to really integrate all of these teachings into one, and that will help you on your way. So next, sorry, I did make a list that I'm reading off of, which is unusual because I usually just get on here and talk. Okay. The next one I have is let go of everything you thought was true. Your truth in the higher dimensions will be different because there's objective truth and there's subjective truth. And again, this is like the you, where we are, you know, in the process of clearing away all the baggage, all of the old beliefs, the old thoughts, the wounding, all of that stuff, which is not truly you, but is your experiences. And your subjective truth will shift. And it's because you're shifting out of the 3D into the 4D, 5D, and even higher. And you're shifting your truth to revolve around the unconditional love of everything, okay? And the oneness of everything, and the fact that you are everyone else that you see and experience. You are them and they're you. And you see that through the mirroring, right? Everything works together in that way. And the quicker you see that, the quicker you're going to make these huge steps in your ascension process, in your awakening, and in your healing process. And if you're on this channel, you're going through that, okay? So if we need to get over the hump of I'm not good enough for awakening, then this is your confirmation, okay? So let go of everything you thought was true, because it might not really be true. My favorite one, and I've talked about this before, is this idea that I grew up with, that, you know, you must always turn the other cheek. You must always suffer for the good of everyone. And what I'm learning is suffering doesn't bring about the good of anything. What does is, you know, alleviating your own suffering so that you can help to alleviate the suffering of others. And so again, it brings it all back to love and the way that love affects us all, and the fact that in healing ourselves, we're healing everyone else too, right? We're all one. We are all the same consciousness, divided into billions of different bodies, recycled and reincarnated over and over again. And that doesn't even, you know, that includes every living being in existence, right? Not just human beings. So be willing to see outside the box, to know that your truth was not necessarily untrue for you at the time, but your truth is expanding. It's subjective because there is a greater objective truth, the truth of oneness, right? But beneath that, or I guess sort of over that, however you want to see it, are our own subjective truths, which can change with our growth, okay? Number 5 is there is always more. The flow of life is abundance. And so there is always more to learn. There is always new truth. There is always more love. There is always more mastery. It's just infinite. There is an infinite flow of abundance to each of us. We are the ones who choose whether to cut it off or not. And simply accepting the truth of oneness and accepting the truth of unconditional love opens those doors to abundance in all ways, whether it is, you know, love between romantic love, or love between platonic love, resources flowing in, any of those things, you know, experiences, mastery, the easy, graceful, like challenge-free flow of knowledge. Like, that is an amazing experience when you can truly get out of your own way and allow more knowledge to flow in, okay? So there is always more. You are never at the pinnacle. You are always at the point of increase if you accept this. And isn't that an amazing thing? Like, there is always something there's always somewhere to go, right? There's always somewhere that you can grow into. And to me, that's amazing. And the key is love where you are, but leave the door open for continued growth, okay? And that avoids, is what we want to avoid here, is the idea that we don't have enough, the idea of lack consciousness. That's not where we want to be. We want to be in the place where we love where we are, but we are open to the infinite possibilities of the universe and know that we deserve them and accept the flow. And so then you will be given all of these opportunities for, friendship and love and abundance and mastery and knowledge. It's just incredible what the universe can give to you when you get out of the way. Speaking of getting out of the way, point number 6 is surrender. Surrender to what feels real, what feels like home, what feels true. Now, what that means can be different for every person. It depends on what your truth is. So if your truth is, I need to build a non-governmental organization and I need to, fund the building of, toilets in India. Literally, was somebody's project, because a huge percentage of people living in the country don't have access to a bathroom, and there's a huge rate of sexual assault for women in those areas, because just trying to get to the one outhouse, they are being assaulted. So that was somebody's dream, and so that person had to say to themselves, and I can't think of who it was right now, and I'm sure there are many, many, many people who have gone on this mission, but they had to say, I'm going to work really hard. I'm surrendering to this. I'm going to work really hard and make it happen. For other people, surrender means to just surrender to rest. How many times has my surrender had to be to rest? Because I ended up in the hospital in 2017 because I refused to surrender to rest. And then the universe was like, we're going to make you surrender to rest. It's over for you right now. You are going to kill yourself. Please rest. And so, you need to really be in touch with what your guidance is, what your truth is. And that's a process too. But when you discover it, do not fight it. I have done that so many times. The most recent was this year. Like, as I was mentioning before, I kind of decided at some point in time that relationships were not for me, and I was going to throw my life into rescuing animals, which was my business that I built and my full-time job. And this year, it became very clear to me that I was going to need to transition into a different role with our organization. Like, I did not leave it, but a less, all-consuming role, so that I could make space in my life for relationships, and I could make space in my life to run this healing business for all of you, so that I could bring all of you into my life as well. And so, as the person who is always such a go-getter and such a, controller, and like so in my masculine energy and like just winning and achieving and surviving, I had to back up and I had to surrender to this new knowledge that hit me like a ton of bricks, and I knew it was true. I knew it was true, and you will know that when that happens to you and you receive that truth bomb, it feels like a truth bomb. And the only way into it is to surrender into it. If you fight it, your life will okay, I'm just going to tell you, your life's going to suck until you surrender to it. I don't like to, I don't want to tell you the way it is all the time, because everybody's life is different. But the thing is, when you really need to do something, if you are avoiding your highest good, you're probably going to go down a pathway that gets you farther and farther away from where you need to be, and that's uncomfortable. When you divert yourself from who you are, that's uncomfortable. And so that is the same if you are sticking in a relationship that is damaging to you. I had that happen too. I tried to hang on for so long, and it became so ridiculously clear that this was not working out, that this person went and basically had an affair with someone. And look at me sweating now. Now I'm mad. I had to say to myself, Emily, you knew this was not working. At the same time, I ruptured my ACL and my hamstring in one of my legs, and I was like because I'm crazy, like, don't do this. Nobody do this at home. I refused to go to the doctor at the time. And it took me years to rehabilitate that on my own. I did. I can't believe it. Like a year and a half later, I ran a 5K. And of course, I've been doing other things since. But my point being, I didn't want to surrender to that. And that is how the universe was like, wake it up. Wake up. Pull it together. So, surrender. When you know something is the truth, surrender to it. Do not fight it. It will only suck. Okay, next. Okay, even if you do go astray, even if you do fight it, you're never anywhere but where you need to be. Okay, and that's important to remember, because especially for somebody like me who's always about achieve, 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 get there quicker, get there better, get there more. I always was beating myself up that I wasted time in this relationship, or I wasted time learning XYZ, or I wasted time at this job. It's never a waste. You're selecting for these experiences because you require the knowledge and the experience in order to move forward in your incarnation, okay? Depending on how you see it, you can see it as like karmic contracts you made before you came into this life, and you're just fulfilling them. But however you choose to see it, wherever you are right now is exactly where you need to be. And if you're getting that inkling that you need to move forward, need to move on, need to step into a new career or a new mission or a new relationship, or freaking travel or take 3 weeks off, then follow that, because that is now where you need to be. You cannot be where you are not meant to be. And I know that sounds nuts, because here I am always talking about getting to where you need to be, and that seems to create the dynamic that you are not already there. But the reality is you are already there. And there are infinite numbers of realities that we can choose at any given time. And so it's simply time to choose another reality to move forward from there. Okay? So do not worry. Do not bring in the negative energy of needing to having the fear of missing out. What do they call that? FOMO? Having the fear of missing out. Don't get in that energy, because that's negative energy and it will drag you down. You just want to be in the energy of acceptance, is what they're saying right now. Acceptance. Accept where you are. Accept where you feel that you're being guided to, and take the steps to get there, okay? That's important. Next, release all attachments. So that kind of goes along in the same flow. It's like you need to release the attachment to everything. By releasing your attachments, you're not going to lose that thing. And ironically, what you end up doing is powerfully magnetizing it to you, because you've stopped creating... Oh, sorry about the notifications. I forgot to turn those off my phone. What you've done is you're magnetizing it to you, because you've taken away all of those difficult and constricting pulls on that object or thing or person or relationship or job or abundance in general. Like, if you are so attached to making money, you may struggle to make money, because you've got all of these different emotions, including negative ones, including the idea that you don't have enough, okay, attached to this emotion. So you need to remove attachments. That is going to make your life so much easier, whether it's, circled around like creating abundance, law of attraction shit, or whether it's just your day-to-day. Like, if you're so mentally focused on the lack in your life, or having some specific relationship happen right then and there, the negative feelings that are created by attachment will always get in the way of that being able to manifest. Okay? So release attachment. I received that message heavily in November. It was one of the new moons. I can't remember which one. Might have been in Scorpio or something like that. I feel like it because I went to the underworld. Like, I was sick as a dog. I got sick, And I was thrashing like in this fever in my bed, and all I could hear was like release attachment. And I would like was on these like saw myself in these torture devices, and it was just so painful. And the pain was my physical illness, right? But it was also the attachment playing out in my mind and manifesting in my dream state or my delirium as these torture devices. And that's really what it is. So release attachment to everything. And I include people in that. And why? Of course, we love people. Love is not attachment. Love does not have attachment. Love is a positive give and take, a flow. If you feel this like death grip attachment to something, that's not healthy. And it needs to be taken away, okay? And that is a major lesson in enlightenment or ascension or whatever you want to call this. And finally, my final point is true unconditional love conquers all every time. It is one of the highest levels of flow you can possibly be in. Check out the map of consciousness or the Hawkins scale. That gives a number to every vibration or every emotion, not every emotion, to a lot of different emotions, okay? And it will help you understand why certain emotions are lower vibrational, why others are higher vibrational. And the higher vibrational emotions you are holding day to day, minute to minute, the better you are in flow. And unconditional love is one of the highest possible, okay? It is a gateway directly into enlightenment, into abundance, because you are in the flow. Therefore, all the things will be flowing to you. Unconditional love is that love without attachment, because you're not attached to any outcome. You don't care if they respond or reciprocate, because you are simply allowing the flow of love with no conditions, obviously. Okay? Trying to see if there's anything else they want me to share with you. Just that they just want me to tell you how much I unconditionally love all of you. And I'm so grateful that you guys are listening to my video. They're reminding me that we are only a few subscribers away from 500. I think I was at 482 this morning. So that means, 18 people away from 500 subscribers. So I think what I'm going to do is once I hit 500 subscribers, I'm going to give away a free healing session. Okay. And in order to be entered in that free healing session, please comment below this video that you would like to be entered. Okay. I really appreciate every one of you, and thank you so much. Let me know what you thought of this video. Hit like if you enjoyed it. Hit like even if you didn't enjoy it. Don't hit dislike. Please don't. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.